All right, so you guys may have been seeing a lot of life insurance agents popping up on Instagram, social media, wherever you consume that, just popping up, saying a lot of things, getting a lot of views. But what you may not know is that they're not writing any business. They're not selling anything. Yeah, they're entertaining. Yeah, they're making us laugh with their videos, but they're not converting any of those videos into sales. And I know because I'm in the life insurance sales game and I am writing business. I'm in my 5th month of life insurance sales and I've done over 100K sold in annual premium. And I get paid out 75% of that, around 75% of that in commission. And it's my 5th month, like I said, and this is the only reason I know they're not selling business is because I actually sell business and I would never do anything that they're doing. So I want to make this video really quickly here because I have like 3 quick tips to let you know who's converting sales and who's not. And 3 quick tips if you're a life insurance salesman or a salesman of any kind to start and keep issuing business. So number 1 is there's the script, there's tonality, and then there's volume. These are 3 things that are crucial to selling in any realm. I'm gonna revert it to life insurance sales, but you can refer it to any type of sales that you're in. So the script, tonality, and volume. So the script, you need a dialed script. You need to know what to say. You need to know it works. You need to have words to say to the prospect. You need to have a tone where it's conversational, where it's not a robot, but it's conversational. You sound like you care for the person. You sound good on the phone. And volume, you need to do a lot of it. And these 3 are a balancing act, like I said, but they're a feedback loop too. You learn from when you say the script a lot with good tonality and you do a lot of volume, you can iterate on those and just get it better and better as you do that 3 loop right there. So again, the script needs to be dialed, your tonality needs to sound good, and you need to do a lot of it volume. Now, a lot of people mess up because they take one without the other or they focus too hard on the other. And we see on Instagram, there's so many people saying, oh, I can sell anyone because of my tone, of how I sound. And when I say it like this, it brings up a question. And if I say it like this, how could they not buy? They hone too hard in on the tonality, but they're not doing a lot of reps. So of course they're not gonna sell more. Or people hone in on the script. They're like, every word I say has to be intentional. Every word in here has to be putting them in a posture of buying. But if you're not doing volume, and if you sound like a robot, you're not gonna sell business. And again, if you focus too much on volume, but you're not getting better on the script or the tonality, you're gonna flop as well. So these 3 are a balancing act. You need to do all 3 so that feedback loop can keep getting better and stronger and you can get more sales and more skill, or with the more skill. Now, tip number two to sell more business and to know how someone's selling business versus someone who's not is don't get caught up in the day-to-day. So there's a lot of highs and lows in selling. You're gonna be up big this day, sell a lot this day, and then the next day you'll get no sales. And you're just like, oh man, how can I be consistent? Why is this happening? You cannot get caught up in that day-to-day. So I majored in math. That's what I got my degree in mathematics in college. And, I worked with a lot of math. I also, we saw a lot of scatter plots. Obviously, you learned that in middle school. You put a lot of plot points on a graph. And then there's points up here on the graph, there's points down here, there's outliers where a super high one, there's outliers where they're super far down. But if you zoom out on that graph, a lot of times, if we're looking at a graph that trends up on a scatter plot, it's gonna trend up. All those plot points tend to trend up. It doesn't matter if this one was high here and then the next one was low, the trend is up. So don't get caught up in the day-to-day so much where you're like, oh, today was good, but the next day is bad, and then the day after that was bad. You have to zoom out a lot of times and see that graph is trending up. But if you get caught up in the day-to-day, it might make your day worse, and then you get caught up in that day, you're thinking so much, then you make the next day worse, then the scatter plot is trending down. So don't get caught up in the day-to-day. If you're making a lot of calls, of course, there's going to be variance, there's going to be highs and lows, there's volatility, but don't get caught up on that. Zoom out and see that the graph is trending up. Now, the last thing, and this is where I have issues, and this is why I can say it. Obviously, I'm not perfect, so this is where I have gotten caught up, and this is why I can say it to you. Do not forsake momentum. Do not take your foot off the gas. When things are working, don't take your foot off the gas. I've experienced this firsthand. I've had good months, and then the next month I'll take a week off, the first week off. Then when I get back to selling, it takes me so much longer to get to the place I was already at. And then let alone to go further than that and progress, it just takes much longer. And an example of this in the real world is I have a CDL license, a commercial driver's license, a professional driver's license. So I drove a lot of dump trucks, and my family had a logistics company where I drove a lot of dump trucks, and I would see there would be times we're driving on muddy ground, soft ground where it's wet, and you would see there's places where a lot of people got stuck. And if you were driving through that spot and you took your foot off the gas, you would instantly get stuck in the mud. And then they would have to bring machines to get you out, to push you, other machines to pull you out. You would clog up the line, and it would take you such a long time to get back on route, and you would just lose loads, and it was terrible. But when you saw the place where everyone was getting stuck and you kept your foot on the gas, you would just roll right through it and catch momentum to go through the spot where everybody was getting stuck. And this is a physical example of momentum, but in sales, it's the same way. When you have your foot on the gas, things tend to just keep getting better and quicker and rolling in your direction. Once you take your foot off that gas, you slow down, everything stops, and you got to rev it back up to get back to where you were. So don't forsake momentum. Keep your foot on the gas. I've seen it too many times in my selling. And even I wish I could say when I did it once, I would stop and keep the momentum going. But there's so many times where I've stopped the momentum and it's hurt me in the long run. Because what I don't notice is things compile. Like, even if you don't know momentum's working on your side, it is. Because I had my biggest deal on the fourth week of a follow-up, but since I kept my foot on the gas, I was able to still sell. And then when that came back around, I was able to sell that deal. It was about $4,000 annual premium in one sale. And it was when I was on a flight back home, I got a call back and they were ready to buy. And I didn't have to do much, but it was because I kept momentum that I was able to get that one along the journey. And the last thing I want to say, obviously I'm a Christian. I run everything by God. God is my first and foremost, my priority, what I follow. My prayer lately has been, God, your perfect work and will be done. I want what you want for me, no matter what the outcome looks like. So that's honing in on the point we were saying. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day. Man, I don't care what the outcome looks like, as long as I know I'm getting closer to you, God, as long as I'm trending up, like I was saying before. Let your work and will be done. I don't care what the day-to-day looks like. I don't care about the variance. What my eyes can see, I know you're doing a greater work in me. And that keeps me motivated. That keeps me going to know, hey, today looked bad from the outside, but I know when I zoom out, I'm trending up because I'm following God. So that's it. That was 3 tips that I wanted to give you about selling life insurance, selling in general, that I've seen firsthand in my life. I hope you got something from it. And let me know if you did. And if you want to learn any sort of selling, or you want to come sell with me, please hit me up, because I would love to have you.